So it's a big day at the Supreme Court today after a marathon hearing of 38 days spread over 4 months on a bunch of 27 petitions. The verdict on Aadhaar will be out today at 10:45. Now, whether Aadhaar, the national identity card, violates the Constitution, that is what the Supreme Court will decide, and whether the unique identification can be made compulsory. A 5-judge constitution bench headed by the outgoing Chief Justice Deepak Mishra will be announcing their decision. The government has defended Aadhaar, claiming it ensured proper distribution of benefits to millions and that Aadhaar data is safe. The argument against Aadhaar is that it violates the right to privacy and concerns over data security as well as the misuse of that data. The government has already made Aadhaar compulsory for many services and welfare measures. All right, let's go across to Sonal now for more. And Sonal, so it's been a long hearing at the Supreme Court. Many petitions questioning various aspects of Aadhaar, and finally we'll have that decision today.
That's right, Gargi. Almost 38 days spread across 4.5 months, almost 31 petitions. And today is finally the judgment day when Supreme Court will decide in what has been one of the longest hearings in the history of Supreme Court. Today is finally the judgment day when they will come out and decide whether or not Aadhaar can be made compulsory. And more importantly, the big question that's been looming over Aadhaar, does it violate the right to privacy? Because that's been the primary concern of all the petitioners. Remember, we've been talking about the 31 petitioners in this case, one also a former High Court judge, along with several people from the civil society, one of the topmost lawyers in the country. They've all petitioned to the Supreme Court saying that it violates right to privacy and thus it should be taken down, perhaps not been made compulsory at least. The argument on the other side has been that the centre has been coming forward to, and I just want to quote you something that has gone on in these long 38 days of hearing. The centre went out to say that it defends the decision to Aadhaar for also attaching mobile numbers with it, and this is why. It says that it is valid and should allow the minimal invasiveness and ensure the right to life to millions of Indians and subsidies and benefits and services to the poorest of the poor. The centre is pitching Aadhaar as a means to get seamless rolling out of efforts and subsidies for the poorest of the poor, and they are saying it's a one-stop solution. However, the petitioners have their concern, and they have gone ahead to tell the court, and I quote now, that an electronic leash is what they termed Aadhaar as. They also went out to say that if not kept in control, it could destroy an individual by simply switching off the 12-digit number. These were the concerns put up by the petitioners. But how did the court respond so far, at least? Because that really gives you a glimpse into what we can expect from the judgment, which will start rolling out from 10:30 onwards from court number 1 from Supreme Court, where I come to you from. And what the court has said so far, the court has said that the government has misinterpreted its order and used it as a tool to make Aadhaar mandatory for mobile users. Remember, the court had said very categorically that until the case is heard, the government should not go out and make it mandatory. But in several schemes, we saw this was the case. Also, what the court has said, and perhaps this will be the key to how and perhaps what could the verdict be today. And this is what the court has said. The court says it has agreed prima facie with the government's contention that Aadhaar law was correctly termed as a money bill by the Lok Sabha Speaker, as it dealt with targeted delivery of subsidies for which funds came from the Consolidation Fund of India. Now, what does this basically mean? Will this mean that the Supreme Court will come out and take a very clear stand on where Aadhaar stands? Or will it, like we saw in yesterday's verdict, put the ball back in the court of the government and say that, well, there are concerns, you need to address these concerns, and then perhaps pass a bill, another money bill in the parliament about this? So that's like an area that we are looking at. But like we said, exciting day ahead. At 10:30 is when we'll hear the first judgments being read out by the CGI himself.